I was married, and I was married to an alcoholic, and like you, Nita, I grew up very. Did you grow up sheltered? I was very sheltered.
I
Remember?
wasn't as sheltered as you,
Okay,
but
you were.
I understand you were way more sheltered than I was.
Yeah, I was very, very sheltered,
Yeah.
and naive, and so and I hadn't been around anyone that drank. Like no one in my community drank. I really
Yeah.
didn't know what I was looking for. So I was married to a very high functioning, I guess, closet alcoholic. That after a number of years uh, sped out of control. And long story short, he actually passed away from alcoholism. And so I wanted to write a book for those that are either living with an addict or have an addict that's close to them, and they don't know how to help. They don't know, like, what do I do with this individual that I'm living with that doesn't want to seek help, or doesn't know how to seek help, or isn't ready to admit that he needs help? Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
How do I get this person in treatment? How do I keep them in treatment? And how can I make the difference in the situation? It's everything that I wish I would have known at the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I wrote
that's
that book.
powerful. Yeah, good for you for writing
Yeah.
a book. That's awesome. I felt
Yeah.
like
So
you had healing too. I hope you had some like, closure on some things too from
yeah,
writing.
I think it was, I had to relive a lot of I didn't leave out any details. I mean, I went all in with all the gory details, like the
Yeah,
good times, the bad times, the scary times, everything. Um, I'd say it's about 30% memoir,
yeah,
70% self-help, but I mean, it's a 15 chapter book, so my story's definitely in there.
yeah.
Um, and it'll be on the shelves in August, so I'm excited.
Yay, that's so
Yeah,
awesome.
that's what I'm working on.
Hey,
So yeah,
that's
and
making a
there's a lot
difference.
more
That's
to
making
us,
an impact,
obviously. And
right?
what?
Yeah. That's making an impact is your book will make a positive
Oh, yeah,
impact on people's lives.
absolutely. The statistics are that something that 46% of Americans are living with this.
Yeah,
So
a lot.
yeah, it's a lot.
hmm And it's hard to find that balance between being codependent and also being helpful. So where's that
Uh,
line of like you taking care of yourself, but yet also wanting to help the addict? Because
oh yeah,
I do feel like we can be intercessors for people that have addiction, but they
yeah.
still have to be the one that hits the rock bottom to decide. Um, you know, because we can't change it for them. They have to really want to change it.
Yes, yes.
You agree with that? Sounds like you don't agree with that.
Ultimately, it's
Yeah,
I mean, I talk a lot about that in the book, but I mean, someone that's mentally ill, they are unaware that they are mentally ill. They're not aware that, they think that they're well. Like
yeah,
everything's, what do you mean? Like, what's the problem? I'm
yeah,
functioning, everything's great. Maybe not
yeah,
great, but
yeah,
certainly not as bad as you paint it. And so unfortunately, rock bottom is either jail or death for a lot
yeah,
of people.
yeah,
So, um, yeah, but there still is that balance of like, okay, I can't completely sacrifice myself and my kids, but I do want to help this person. And so that is what I talk about. Like, how do you navigate that? What do you do?
yeah,
What are the
yeah,
resources, the options?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it. And what's the title
Yeah.
of the book?
Um,
Are you coming up with the title still?
no, I have it. I just want to
Okay.
say
Oh, you can't say
it.
it. It's a surprise. Okay, that's fine. No worries. Well, I'm sure you will say it when it's
I
released.
will. Yes. Yes. A couple
Yes.
episodes in, because as I get closer to the publishing, like, and the book actually being out, I'll say
Okay.
the title of the book. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm
Okay.
excited.
Yeah.
But yes, you see, I would have never had the time to write a book.
Yeah.
You and I didn't, hire a ghostwriter and say, here's
Right.
my story, come up with it. We were writing,
Yeah. It takes a
and
lot of time.
yeah, and did you know 1% of those that consider writing a book actually do? 1%.
Really, I didn't know
That's it.
that. That's
1%.
interesting.
A lot of people think about writing a book, but it's it's no joke. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of prep and dedication and skill
Yeah.
and time to write a book. So,
It is. It
I'm
is.
proud of both
And
of us for doing it.
yay, woohoo.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I
and a lot of
remember,
people, some people spend years, like
oh
they're
yeah.
like 3 years in and they're like, I'm still writing my book.
Well, and the key to that is getting a good publisher and getting someone that can help you. And I did hire a
Yeah.
book coach that helped me because that
Yeah.
was super helpful. But I love now that I have other women that are like, oh, I want to write a book too, so I can pass on, who helped me, because
Yeah.
book is really healing for your story, whatever that is that you wrote. Like,
Yeah.
even if I didn't sell any copies of my book, I'm just so happy I wrote it down. Like, I have a memoir of that, and someone even suggested that I have my kids read it, and I thought, well, that's a great idea because I'm not going to sit here and tell my kids my whole story, right? But I can
Right. You're
give
not
them
going to be
my
like,
book.
sit down, it's story time.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'll let you read about it because it's going to come from a different perspective than me telling you.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a really good piece of advice to have my kids read it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so congratulations on that. That's awesome. I'm excited
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
So
I'm really excited.
yeah. So my book is called The Sacred Butterfly,
Okay.
and it is released and people can look for it on Amazon. And what I love about my story is it's really helping the everyday woman come to their own relationship with their body and their sexuality, and then also be aware if they had any sexual trauma or if they have daddy issues. That tends to be a really big thing for women that are not completely healed sexually, is they have daddy issues. And so I had daddy issues.
You did. Okay.
If you're watching this, you might have mommy issues, but I had daddy issues.
Men
So it was,
do.
yeah. So it was definitely important for me to heal that in my own psyche, and
Yeah.
writing it out helped. But in my book has worksheets. Just one second.
Yeah.
So it has worksheets that women can go through and work on certain things after each chapter. I'm not sure if your book has that, but the worksheets I find are super helpful. I know yours
That's
isn't
a
done
great
yet.
idea for
So
bonus
yeah,
material. Yeah.
yeah, to have a worksheet. So whatever the topic is of that chapter, women can afterwards go through and write out their own story, their own version that they can process.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so here we are. We're OF models, we're moms, we're authors.
Yeah.
We are activists in the community. So what has been some of the challenges for you being a mom and an OF model?
The only challenge for me is outside opinions. It- only in the almost 4 years that I've done this, it's only come up a couple of times. The first time that it came up, it was my daughter was in middle school, and I think you remember this. I was confronted by the bishop of the church.
Yeah, that was only like a couple years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Years ago.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, right when I was about to move. So we
yeah.
were moving, it was fine, but I can't remember. I think I was on a podcast, or I mean, I was maybe, oh, you know what it was? I was actually on a television show.
Oh,
I
really?
was I was on a talk show. Yeah,
Oh,
I was on
I
a
didn't know
talk
that.
show.
What
Um,
talk show was it?
I can't remember the name of it. I'll get back to you on
Yeah,
what that was because I
you're
can't
on
I
the
can't
media.
remember right
Yeah,
now. But it's on YouTube. They
yeah.
put the copy of it on YouTube. So if you look
Cool.
me up on
Yeah,
YouTube, I'm sure it'll come
yeah.
up
That's awesome.
as
Yeah,
other things will. But
yeah,
yes, so it's on this talk show, and like it's like a morning show,
yeah.
and someone saw the show and recognized me and sent my bishop a copy, like the link
Yeah, yeah,
to the recording. And this is also right when I was going viral because remember I like and as we both were like in the New York Post, and I
yeah,
wrote an article for the Huff Post, and I'm in Newsweek, and I'm a cover of Feminist, and like we're kind of like all over the media, right? And I I knew going into this, okay, someone may find out and I just need to be okay with that and this is
Yeah.
all worth it. I get a text the next morning after a viral article hits, and this is on YouTube, and it's at 5:30 a.m. and he's like, "Can you come to the church this evening? I would like to talk to you." I have never in my life been summoned to the church by the bishop. So, like,
You're like,
that's not normal. So
"Okay."
I'm like, "Oh, he knows."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Actually, I'm really busy. Can we just text about this?" And he's like, "It's really important." I avoided him like the plague for a couple of days. And then I don't know why I did this. Probably because I'm just, when you're raised in the church, you don't question, is this normal for him to be coming over to my house to discuss my business?
Yeah.
Um, you're just kind of like groomed that that's normal, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
being questioned is normal, and we have to ask permission to go into the temple every year. So like these, we're used to these meetings, not in our
Yeah.
home, but we're used to answering like they're a parent, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I guess my inner child came out in that moment,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, come over. So he comes over and he questions me, and long story short, he gives me an ultimatum, and as to, you can continue this and keep your membership with the church, or you can no, so you can continue this and not keep your membership.
Right. 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 Right.
Or you can go back to what you were doing for your career, which is a good one, or and you can maintain your status and membership with the church. And I just remember like smiling and nodding like I do with my parents still,
Uh-huh.
like like pretending like, yeah, I got you, everything, I agree with everything you're saying. But internally, I was like, yeah, inside, I was just like, no, get out
But
of my
you were
house.
scared. You were scared to tell him the truth right then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just didn't want to. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Confront
I
it.
think I was, as I was sitting there, there's a lot of thoughts running through my mind. There's yeah, like I'm afraid of that confrontation because we've never had this confrontation.
Yeah.
Um, I am also thinking this is total BS. Like, why am I even talking to you right now? Like, there's like this internal struggle, and I
Huh?
was just like, get out of my house. I just couldn't wait for him to get out of my house. And then I thought about it, and I thought, I don't owe him an explanation. This is
Yeah.
nuts. Like, there are a bigger fish to fry, I'm sure. And you need to go focus on something else. And this
Yeah.
is not your problem. And so I went about my business, and months went by, and he wanted to have a follow-up meeting with me to find out if, I'm sure they were stalking my Instagram the whole
Right.
time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my website. It's like, okay, yes, keep looking at my Instagram. It helps my views, by the way, which
Yeah.
it gets me more subscribers. But
Right.
he kept trying to track me down because he wanted an update. How are things going?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I was getting ready to move. It was like 6 months later. I'm getting ready to move. And the way that things work in the church is, if you move to another state and you attend another LDS church, they're all tied.
Yeah.
So if
We
if
all
I
know.
if I go down the street and I say, I'm Holly and I'm new in the area and I would like to start attending your church here, the first thing they're going to say is, great, I'm so excited you moved here. What's your member ID number? And there's a file on me. So I
Yeah.
think that he didn't want this to be someone else's problem,
Yeah.
like, because I'm such a problem. And I know. And so they held a meeting about me, and which I was invited to, but I was like, I am above attending a meeting to beg to stay a member of your church."
Yeah.
And so I'm blowing that off. And so I moved, and I did receive the official letter that I still have, that I am excommunicated. They didn't use the term excommunication, but they said everything but that word, that specific word. That, yeah,
Yeah.
I am no longer a member. So
That's
that's
hard
fine.
though.
And that affects my kids because that's what we did every Sunday, and every Wednesday is activity night. And
Yeah.
so and they had friends, and so
Yeah.
that does make a big impact
Yeah. That's
because there's this
sad.
big hole.
Yeah.
And you probably haven't been to an LDS church, but it is very different than just going down the street to the Baptist church.
Yeah,
It's very
like,
different.
it's hard for you to find another church that you feel
It's
comfortable going to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's very different. The
yeah,
you know, the whole philosophy is different. The music is different, the
yeah,
activities are different, the structure is different, everything about it is different. And so we still haven't found
mm,
um where we belong
yeah,
in terms of that. And I I just sort of put it on the shelf.
yeah,
I am going to revisit that whole thing. Um I may go back to them and try to restore my membership.
yeah,
I did challenge them in the media. I totally blasted them in the
yeah,
media.
yeah, yeah.
Um
I didn't
and
see you had an article about it.
yeah, yeah, I had multiple articles about it. I may go back and fight with them
Yeah.
and go back to the media and really go after them. I just haven't decided if that's what I want to do. So
Well,
I
and
just
then
needed some space from it to
yeah, you need some
decide.
space.
But I
Yeah.
might do that.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is whatever their opinion of what you did was wrong,
Mhm.
there are people doing those things every day in the Mormon church. Even worse, there's people that are
Oh
sexually
yeah.
assaulting teenagers in the Mormon church. There are people that are, doing lots of other things that we don't know about
Right.
that, probably I wouldn't want to even talk about on this podcast.
Right, exactly.
And there's probably plenty of them that are watching, women online. So it's like
They
for you
do.
to be the one who's excommunicated is completely wrong
Yeah.
because everybody else has their own demons in their closet, which is
Right.
why I had the website Demons and Angels because
Exactly.
everybody has a demon. I mean, there's literally nobody on earth that can say, I am a perfect human and I have
Right.
never done anything wrong. And so when we're now just focusing on one aspect of a person, like what you do for a living is just one aspect of who you are. But as far as the rest of who you are,
Yeah.
I mean, you probably are a much more stellar human than a lot of other people going to that church, but they don't have a spotlight on their inside life. Like they're not
Right.
having a video camera in their house to see what they're actually doing. The only difference is that we're
Yeah.
putting our life on a video camera. People don't
Yeah.
think I have sex every day or every other day or every 3 days. Most people have sex, right? The
Yeah.
only
Yeah. I would
difference
hope so.
is we're putting it on camera. That's the
Yeah.
only difference.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that want to see it, so they can pay.
Exactly. That's the difference. They're not on the Truman Show, but they want to be.